Let's pray. Almighty God, who in your wisdom and goodness have appointed the offices of leaders and county assemblies for the welfare of society and the just government of the people, we beseech you to behold with your abundant favor as your servants, whom you've been pleased to call to the performance of important tasks in this county. Let your blessings descend upon us here assembled, and grant that we treat and consider all matters that shall come under our deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our county, and of those whose interests you've committed to our church. Amen. Clerk, take us through the order of the day.
Order paper number 147 of today, Wednesday, 21st February 2024 at 9 a.m. Order number 1, administration of oath.
Next order.
Order number 2, communication from the chair.
Next order.
Order number 3, messages.
Next order.
Order number 4, petitions.
Next order.
Order number 5, papers.
A Honorable Leader of Majority.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I stand to lay a paper that pursuant to the provisions of Section 135(4) of the Public Finance and Management Act 2012, read together with the orders number 2251 of the standing orders, I wish to table today, Wednesday, 21st February 2024, the Kisumu County proposed supplementary budget estimates financial year 2023-2024. Thank you.
Honorable members, I confirm that the proposed supplementary budget estimate for first supplementary budget for the year 2023-2024 have been properly laid before the House, and I want to commit it to the Committee of Budget and Appropriation to deal with it as per our standing orders. But I also want to urge them that I have information that most things are at a standstill in the county, awaiting the supplementary budget. So please, I want to authorize you that you maximize your time in working in the estimate alongside other sectoral committee members. Other sectoral committee chairs. Honorable Eunice Lando.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I wish to table reports of the Agriculture, Livestock Development, Fisheries and Irrigation County Agriculture Sector Coordinating Bill 2023, County Assembly Bill number 7 of 2023. That pursuant to the provision of the order number 182-6, read with orders number 123-4 of the standing orders, I wish to table today, Wednesday, 21st February 2024, a report of the Agriculture, Livestock Development, Fisheries and Irrigation Committee on the Kisumu County Agriculture Sector Coordinating Bill 2023, County Assembly Bill number 7 of the year 2023. Thank you.
Honorable members, I want to confirm that the public participation report from the Committee of Agriculture, Fisheries, Livestock Development and Irrigation Committee is properly laid before the House in regard to the Kisumu County Agricultural Sector Coordination Bill 2023, that's the Kisumu County Assembly Bill number 7. But I want to communicate that, number one, this report should reach the members early enough before discussion, if possible today. So the Chair, Committee Agriculture and the Clerk ensure that these reports reach members. Number two, I want to urge members to read this report thoroughly before we go into the second reading of the said bill. If there is any amendment that a member is proposing on top of what probably could have come from the public, that will be passed through the chair of the committee during the committee of the whole house, ensure that those proposed amendments are written to the speaker or the clerk early enough, at least 24 hours before the discussion day. But I urge all members to read the public participation report and also the bill itself for purposes of discussion when the time for second reading comes. Honorable Eunice Lando.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Again, before the House to lay the report of the Agriculture, Livestock Development, Fisheries and Irrigation Committee on the Kisumu County Agriculture Facilities Improvement Financing Bill 2023 of the County Assembly Bill number 9 of 2023. That pursuant to the provision of orders number 182-6, read with orders number 123-4 of the standing orders, I wish to table today, Wednesday, 21st February 2024, a report of the Agriculture, Livestock Development, Fisheries and Irrigation Committee on the Kisumu County Agriculture Facility Improvement Financing Bill 2023, the County Assembly Bill number 9 of the year 2023. Thank you.
Honorable members, the Agriculture, Fisheries, Livestock Development and Protection Committee report on the Kisumu County Agricultural Facilities Improvement Financing Bill 2023, Bill number 9 of the Kisumu County Assembly of the year 2023 has been properly laid. Similar to the communication I made earlier, the report should be communicated to the members early enough, probably today. That communication goes to the clerk and the chair of the committee. Also, ensure you go through the bill, and if there is any proposed amendment alongside what could have come from the public, ensure it's written to the clerk or to the speaker at least 24 hours to the discussion day. Otherwise, the House Business Committee should consider scheduling those reports for debate. Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
Honorable Eunice Alando.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I wish to give a motion that pursuant to the provision of orders.
Honorable Eunice Alando, we are in the order of notices of motion.
Sorry, Mr. Speaker, sir. Allow me, I wish to give a notice of motion that pursuant to the provision of orders number 45(1) of the standing orders, I wish to give a motion that this House approve a report of the Agriculture, Livestock Development, Fisheries and Irrigation Committee on the Kisumu County Agriculture Sector Coordinating Bill, the County Assembly Bill number 7 of the year 2023. Thank you.
Leader of Majority. No.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I wish to give a notice of motion that pursuant to the provision of orders number 45(1) of the standing orders, I wish to move a motion that this House approves a report of the Agriculture, Livestock Development, Fisheries and Irrigation Committee on the Kisumu County Facility Improvement Financing Bill 2023, the County Assembly Bill number 9 of the year 2023. Thank you.
The Honorable Leader of Majority.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I wish to give a notice of motion that pursuant to the provisions of orders number 26(1) of the standing orders, this Assembly approves the calendar of the County Assemblies, that is regular sessions for the 3rd session 2024, as contained in the schedule of this order paper. Thank you.
Honorable Nerea Okombo, the Deputy Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'd like to give a notice of motion that pursuant to the provisions of standing orders number 14(1) of the Kisumu County Assembly standing orders, that this Assembly approves the following members nominated by the Speaker to serve in the Speaker's panel alongside the Chairperson of committees who shall be the Chairperson. That is Honorable Seth Okumu, panelist number 1, Honorable Emilio Ginga, panelist number 2, and Honorable Karen Najwang, panelist number 3. Thank you.
Next order.
Order number 7, statements.
Time. Next order.
Commencement of business. Order number 8, procedural motion on limitation of debate on motions.
Honorable Leader of Majority.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and honorable members. Recognizing orders number 95.1 of the standing orders grants the Assembly the authority to limit debates on motions and bills by locating a specified period of time for such deliberations. Now, therefore, this Assembly prays that pursuant to the provisions of orders number 95.1 of the standing orders, this Honorable House proposes that each speech in a debate on any motion, including a special motion, be limited in the following manner. A maximum of 2 hours with not more than 20 minutes for the mover and 5 minutes for each other member speaking, except the Leader of Majority, who shall be limited to a maximum of 15 minutes. And that 10 minutes before the expiry of the time, the mover shall be called upon to reply, and the priority in speaking be accorded to the Leader of the Majority Party and the Chairperson of the relevant electoral committee in that order. And I ask Honorable Emily Oginga to second.
Honorable Emily.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I second.
First, now that the Leader of Majority has moved a procedural motion on limitation of debate on motions, seconded by Honorable Emily Oginga, I want to propose that the procedural motion on limitation of debate on motions is open for debate. Honorable Gadalima.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to oppose the motion on the floor. Mr. Speaker, I don't think we should limit members in terms of discussions in this House, because that is the mandate, and that is why they were brought here. Mr. Speaker, looking at the issues that have come to this House, there are some pertinent issues for specific members that a specific member can talk even 20 minutes, while others will not even contribute, because depending on the issue on the floor. So I think we cannot peg a debate for specific members. Like today, if there's an issue in Kabonyo Kanyagwal, which is very pertinent to the member representing Kabonyo Kanyagwal, he should be allowed to give a very strong statement and a good debate on the same, as opposed to Southwest Nyakach representative. Because when we are here, we represent different people with different issues. And the fact that today Southwest Nyakach doesn't have an issue should not allow me to be limited to talk within 5 minutes, and majority leader who comes from my area ward to talk on 15 minutes. Mr. Speaker, if you allow me, we can leave the debate open, but through your guidance on order number 1, you can guide the debate. But we cannot limit members in a discussion on a motion to limit members on contribution in this House. Mr. Speaker, if you look at what you are saying or what the majority leader has tabled today to be discussed, then it means I can calculate the number of minutes or hours that I'm going to take in this assembly. From 2022 to 2027, I can know that if I'm talking for a maximum of 5 minutes, then I know it means in a week I'll be talking 20 minutes. And I don't think that's enough for the people of Southwest Nyakach who I represent. Allow us to discuss issues as they come to this House through your guidance as the Speaker, and you have the order number 1 that allows you to guide members in this House. But we cannot limit members to discuss an issue specific members on 5 minutes. Because, as I've said, today the issue might be Southwest Nakach, which I need to seriously articulate in this house. 5 minutes might not be enough. I'm not a chair to be given leverage on the same. I'm not a vice chair to be given leverage on the same. I'm just a mere member. I need to represent my people fully and articulate their issues here in the strongest way possible. And 5 minutes is not enough. So I rise to oppose and I urge members to oppose that. Allow members to discuss, but through your chair with order number 1, you can guide the debate so that each and every member talks sense on any specific motion brought to this floor. Thank you.
Honorable Tom Nyaoke.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the motion which has just been brought by the majority leader, I would first say it is not a bad motion. It is good motion, but I think it has been brought at not the appropriate time, Mr. Speaker. The reason why I say this is, if you look at the tradition of this House, Mr. Speaker, people have not had that interest in contributing to various motions that are brought into this floor, Mr. Speaker. You find that even a very serious motion, you will find that maybe about 2 or 3 members stand up to speak about this motion, Mr. Speaker. So I don't think still at the moment we can say that we are running sort of time when we are discussing, any agenda in this House, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I think for now, let it be left so that the few members that are able to contribute and to execute certain debate in this House, in the floor of the House, maybe still have the luxury of taking as much minutes as possible. Because if people are few, then really we didn't really have to need to rush with the time that we are catching up with time. Mr. Speaker, as my senior colleague has just said, that in the meantime, you can take control of that, because we are still not really, at the moment, we don't actually take a lot of time in the debates that we are having before or in front of this House. So, Mr. Speaker, I beg, in a short word, is to oppose at the moment, Mr. Speaker, although I can say right that this motion should be brought at a date when we will be having several members that are eager to participate, so that you have that limitation of time to each and every member. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
I want to give some guidance that the motion on limitation of debate is a provision in the standing order. So what we can debate is the issue of timeline. That's what we can debate. If you look at standing order number 95, it's on limitation of debate. And I did communicate during the opening that procedurally, in this session, we must do things differently. So we'll start by first of all discussing the procedural motions. And if you look at, I hope everybody has the standing order. We have different types of motions in the assembly. We have motions on reports, motions on, there are bills brought by members, bills brought by chairpersons of committee, bills brought by private members, petitions. So standing order number 5 requires that we limit debate. So I would want to guide that our discussion should be on the timings, but the limitation of debate is a provision in the standing order. I had noticed the Honorable Benny Peteriko, so it's your time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, at times it is very interesting when orders are made on the floor of the House, quoting the standing order, and they are not explained in the standing order. The 5 minutes that has been emphasized by the majority leader is not mentioned on Standing Order number 95, 1A, 12, 13, up to 14. Where did he get the authority of 5 minutes? And he's referring to the ordinary member. And in this house, the ordinary members, when we refer to what the Honorable Whip said yesterday, are particular people. So those particular people are being gagged. Mr. Speaker, if we go by Standing Order 95-4, which is explained, that is what the majority leader should quote, unless the standing order is amended. So as far as his statement is concerned to this House, he is out of order. And Mr. Speaker, give guidance. Everything is explained in the standing order.
The honorable members requested me to give guidance, and I want to do so. Honorable Benny, I want to refer you to Standing Order number 95-1. And I read, the Assembly may, on a motion made by any member in accordance with the standing order, impose a limit in respect of debate on any particular motion or bill. It's not talking about time, but it's giving authority to any member to impose, to move a motion imposing a limit of debate on any particular motion or bill by allotting a limited time, I think is what you are referring to. And it is during the time which members may speak in such debate or by imposing such limitations. So the motion is properly in the House. It's not out of order. Honorable Peter Obaso.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I stand to support the motion. Mr. Speaker, I think time is of essence, and any member that I think 5 minutes is like 300 seconds. I think that's well enough for any member to put across his points. Lastly, Mr. Speaker, I just wish if there could be an option where a member feels is more pressed with some more words to say, then I think you can give guidelines on that. You as the Speaker. Thank you. I wish to support.
The Honorable Nerea Kompo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to support the motion on the floor that we as an assembly adopt the limitation of debate in certain motions as have been read by Honorable Majority Leader, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I think in most cases, 5 minutes is more than enough for a member to articulate his or her issues. But, Mr. Speaker, there's a provision in Standing Order number 95-4, that with the leave of the Speaker, a member may be given additional time if, in the view of the Speaker and the member on the floor, the 5 minutes is not sufficient, Mr. Speaker. And I just want to urge honorable members that we know that this assembly has...
Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
What's the point of order, Honorable
Mr. Speaker, I don't think the Deputy Speaker is contributing to the same motion. From what the majority leader has read, your provision of limiting people is not there, or limiting members. So I don't know whether she's reading a standing order or talking about the motion. The motion that has been brought by the majority leader only gives leeway to the majority leader 15 minutes and the chair of that committee. And so that is why I'm opposing the same. And I don't think the Deputy Speaker was not here when the majority was doing the same. So maybe she's not understanding what we are discussing. What we are saying is that majority leader has taken 15 minutes for himself and the chair 10 minutes. Members given 5 minutes. So I think the Deputy Speaker should oppose the motion and revert us the standing order which is here, so that we discuss the motion on the floor. You know, somebody like my colleague Peter Basso represent minorities from Kisii and Western. And he doesn't understand that those people have so much issues in this house that he should get more time to discuss, not 300 seconds. He represents Western and Kisii region in this house. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, allow members to discuss their motions depending on how they come, and you guide us through standing on number one. Thank you.
Honorable Nerea.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I think my honorable colleague here is agreeing with me that we allocate 10 minutes to the chair or the mover of the motion, and majority leader 15 minutes. But I was saying, Mr. Speaker, that the 5 minutes that is talking about is more than sufficient for a member to air their views. I think Honorable Gad and I are on the same page, only that he was so much intoxicated with the fact, with the view that Honorable Peter Obaso, being a minority, can only represent the Luyas and the Kisis, who, by the way, are almost a majority in my ward, and therefore he has a right, Honorable Speaker, to support the same. Mr. Speaker, I think I'm done. I just want to support and beseech members that in most cases, Mr. Speaker, you find members repeating themselves or repeating just what other members have spoken of. So 5 minutes is more than sufficient for me as a member on the floor to air my views, and give additional 5 for the mover of the motion to move his motion and maybe to give a reply, Mr. Speaker. I support the motion.
Honorable Regina Gizito.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity. Okay, I want to say that I support the motion, and I think 5 minutes is very, very much enough for members to view to debate, because if you feel that 5 minutes is not enough for you, then I think, Mr. Speaker, you can always give someone a chance to maybe 1 or 2 minutes, or maybe if we can adjust the 5 minutes, but I think it's very, very enough, Honorable Gad, and you can, you have the best chance to represent your people of Southwest Nyakach, because I don't think they have very, very heavy issues. And again, being that you are also a UDA member. Anyway, thank you, Mr. Speaker. I support the motion.
Ratib Boyton.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, was listening to members debating on this issue, and some things are coming out very clear. One, if we are given 2 hours for a debate, the mover is given 20 minutes. Leader of majority given 15 minutes. The reply time is given 10 minutes, and contributor 5 minutes per person. This implicates that we are going to have 1 hour, 45 minutes left in that particular debate for members to debate. 1 hour, 15 minutes. If you divide by 47, oh, no, not really. 1 hour, 15 minutes. That will take about 15 members to debate. Only 15 members will debate, if at all, each and every member is going to take 5 minutes. Let us be realistic. In a debate where 15 members of this house are given a chance to debate, tell me what is left. I think it will be totally exhausted. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to support that 5 minutes for a member is just enough, because we will take views of 15 members in this honorable house. Number two, Mr. Speaker, if you are going to be factual, let alone some things that some of these members always do, you are given an item to give facts about it. 5 minutes or 3 minutes is just enough. Unless you want to beat about the bush, you want to tell us how much you know English, that is, you may need more than 5 minutes. But typically speaking, 5 minutes is just enough for each and every member to contribute. Again, Mr. Speaker, we understand that if we have 2 minutes, so 2 hours for every debate, tell me, in a situation where we may be having 3 debates in a session, and the time is not restricted, what time will we be leaving this house? Mr. Speaker, it is very prudent that we support this motion and pass it the way it is. Thank you.
Somebody to call the mover to reply. I can see. Yes, Honorable Eunice Aland.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I also want to rise to support the motion. I had a member say that most of the members have never shown interest of maybe participating or contributing in a motion. It's because of the members, there are other members, they think if they stood and take 20 minutes debating on an issue, some members are now giving them their 5 minutes, which you are now giving today. We've been donating those 5 minutes to those who are the street talkers, those who have big English. Instead of putting across a point that you have before the house, you mingle with your Kizungu, but here we are here to put points across. So 5 minutes is enough for each and every member to put across his point.
What is the point
forward
of order?
For members to get and maybe to support whatever motion before the house. Thank you.
Honorable God, what is the point of order?
I wanted to inform the member, but...
No, you said you are on a point of order, Honorable God.
Point of information, that is.
No, denied.
I wanted to inform the member that I'll be using 5 for mine and 5 for...
Honorable Eunice, do you want to be informed?
I don't want to be informed, Honorable Speaker, because when I was giving my point, I never mentioned anybody's name, and I didn't want any information from any member. So I don't welcome any information at all.
So you want... Honorable Waridu.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker. Let me also take the opportunity to support the motion that is before the House. Actually, if you look at the allocated time, if you are given 5 minutes to give out your points, if you are straight to the point, those 5 minutes will be enough. And I want to urge the members that feel that the 5 minutes will not be enough for them, he can request the mover or the majority who has 15 minutes or the time for reply to allocate for them the time for, so that they can be given more than 5 minutes. And if you go through the proceedings that we've been having in the Assembly since this term started, I've never seen a debate which is taking more than 2 hours. And if that will happen, I think the Speaker will give us the direction on the way forward. Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Dede.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I also take the opportunity to support the motion on the floor. First, it's the procedure of the House that before the motion has to be brought on the floor, we've been given some 12 hours so that we have the information privy to the motion. So if you are given the motion 12 hours prior to it being laid in the Assembly, given 12 hours, exhaust on the motion, take short notes, then deliberate on it. If the time is not enough for you, I think most of us, perhaps others, will not debate on the issue. If you run out of time and the Speaker gives you leeway, you will be added more time, and if you still not exhaust it, the rest, even if you're given 20 hours, you won't exhaust everything. You will be repeating yourself in a motion. So if you are not, the time is not enough for you, donate it to a neighbor who has not spoken. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Adega.
Thank you, Speaker. Going by the mood of the House, Mr. Speaker, may the mover reply.
Honorable Leader of Majority.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I want to thank the members for their contribution on this motion. And I want to remind members that this motion is not intentionally to gag any member. I think it is a proposal before the House that every member is supposed to contribute. You give your view on what you think. Procedural motions, I think, this is a procedure being followed in a meeting. And it is distinguished from substantive motion or resolution. I also want to agree with the Honorable Deputy Speaker that the Speaker may have leave to add more time to a member contributing. But remember, apart from the 5 minutes, the mover of the motion has 2 hours explaining the motion. So why do you still need more time? You are not the mover. You are supposed to contribute. And I want to believe that 5 minutes is a lot of time. And I want to persuade members that we approve this motion the way it is. Otherwise, Speaker, I reply. Thank you.
Honorable members, now that the Leader of Majority has moved a procedural motion on limitation of debate on motions, seconded, debated, I want to put a question. And I put that as many of the opinion that the procedural motion on limitation of debate on motions as moved by the Leader of Majority, seconded, debated, say aye.
Aye.
As many of the contrary opinions say nay. The ayes have it. And the procedural motion on limitation of debate on motions as moved by the Leader of Majority, that a maximum of 2 hours with not more than 20 minutes for the mover, 5 minutes for each member speaking, except the Leader of Majority Party, who shall be limited to a maximum of 15 minutes. And 10 minutes before the expiry of the time, the mover shall be called upon to reply. And that the priority in speaking be accorded to the Leader of Majority, the Chairperson, the Relevant Central Committee, in that order. Has been approved today, the 21st of February 2024 at 9:48 hours. Next order.
Order number 9, procedural motion. Limitation of debate on bills sponsored by parties or committees.
Majority.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Mr. Speaker and honorable members, recognizing orders number 95(1) of the standing orders further gives the Assembly mandate to impose a limit in respect of debates on bills by allotting a limited period of time for such debates. That pursuant to the provisions of order number 95(1) of the standing orders, this Assembly orders that each speech in a debate on a bill sponsored by a committee, the Leader of the Majority Party or the Leader of the Minority Party be limited as follows. A maximum of 35 minutes for the mover in moving and 15 minutes in replying. A maximum of 30 minutes for the chairperson of the relevant committee if the bill is not sponsored by the relevant committee, and a maximum of 5 minutes for any other member speaking, except the Leader of the Majority Party, who shall be limited to a maximum of 15 minutes if the bill is not sponsored by him, and that priority in speaking be accorded to the leader of the majority party and the chairperson of the relevant sectoral committee in that order. And I want to ask Honorable Karen to second.
Honorable Karen.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I second.
Honorable members, now that the leader of majority has moved a procedural motion on limitation of debate on bills sponsored by parties or committees, seconded, I want to propose a question that the bill is open, the motion is open for debate. Honorable Gad Olema.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, after consulting with my senior colleagues around, we feel, or I feel, that the motion on the floor by the majority leader that will limit members in debating a bill. And I want to believe this is not now a motion, this is now a bill. And a bill, as you know, is a law. And it will take time for some members to understand the same bill that's going to their constituents. I feel, having agreed with the motion, the first motion on limiting members on debate on a motion, on a bill, we should not restrict members, because to make a bill, it means it will take members time to understand, and more members will want to contribute, and within 2 hours is not enough. We can even postpone the debate to another day. So I stand to oppose the same and request that we give you the leeway to guide the House in discussing the bills, so that when we make a law, it becomes a law that everybody understands in this House. Not like the finance bill that was done in this assembly, that 90% of the members don't even know what they passed in this House. So I oppose the same and request the majority to withdraw the motion, so that we can give you the leeway to guide the House in terms of bills being discussed in this House. Thank you.
Just a minute, Honorable God, you say that the majority leader moved that we have 2 hours for the bill. Is that what you said?
No, I didn't say 2 hours. I said gagging the members in terms of discussing a bill in this House.
Honorable Nerea.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to second. Not second, actually. I rise to support the motion that we have limitation of debate on bills sponsored by parties or committees. Mr. Speaker, the standing orders lays out a procedure of debating on bills. Mr. Speaker, we all know that when a bill first comes to the floor of the House, read for the first time, we commit it to a committee who then goes out to carry out a public participation. Mr. Speaker, during the public participation, members are given an opportunity, together with the people they represent, to interrogate the bill and come up with proposals, so that when the report is given back by the relevant committee, Mr. Speaker, we are still given an opportunity to debate upon the report. And during the second reading, Mr. Speaker, there are provisions that we can still come up with amendments. So, Mr. Speaker, debating on bills is not a one-time affair. It's a process, and in every stage, members have a room to give their views. So, Mr. Speaker, giving 5 minutes opportunity in every single session to a member to debate on a bill is more than enough, because the committee chair, the relevant committee chair sponsoring the bill, we'll have sufficient time to also give the amendments proposed from public participation, which mostly also contain amendments by members, because we expect that when those bills go out there, we also join our members in making relevant amendments. So, Mr. Speaker, I support. Thank you.
So,
thank you so much. Thanks again to my fellow colleagues. I am privileged this morning to speak or to arise and support the motion which has been brought forward by the majority leader. Indeed, I highly support a very elaborative time processing the timings accordingly. Mr. Speaker, together with the honorable members, you realize some of us are quite notorious, and given just a free hand, would speak here forever in this house. Honorable Speaker, I don't want to mention names, but I know my fellow colleagues who would talk for 2 continuous days non-stop. I think the time limitations are indeed quite in order, and I agree with the motion brought forward by the majority leader, and indeed I support 101%. Many things, many things once more. Thank you.
Honorable Baiton.
Thank you once again, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to support, and as you know, I always support with facts and figures. If a mover of a bill is given 35 minutes to move and 15 minutes to reply, that is a total of 50 minutes. 50 minutes is just enough period of time to actually do a proper understanding of the bill that is brought in the floor of the House. Number 2, Mr. Speaker, the chair will be given a privilege of 30 minutes if at all the chair has sponsored this bill. That is just enough to dig out any other issue that may come out from the bill. Majority leader, given of his position, has been given 15 minutes to debate on this bill. That is enough time. Now, each and every member is given 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Bills are factuals. Bills are not debates. And Mr. Speaker, if members are given 5 minutes...
Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
What's the point of order, Honorable Guard?
No, point of information, not point of order. Allow me to inform the member on the floor.
Honorable, that, which member, Honorable Guard?
Honorable Boyton.
I'm very much informed, Mr. Speaker. I don't need any information from him.
Honorable Guard, resume your seat.
Inform me now.
Mr. Speaker, as I was saying, 5 minutes. 5 minutes is enough to put any issue that may have arisen or have arisen from the bill. We all understand that before any debate is brought to the floor of the House, members are given, it's also in the standing order, 24 hours for them to look at the bill, for them to look at the debate, look at it properly, criticize where you want to criticize, so that when it is brought in the floor of the House, you already have information on what is being brought. So with that...
Mr. Speaker, point of order.
What's the point of order, Honorable Guard?
Statement of facts, standing order 89.
Proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to state that I know the member on the floor is a new member in this House, and he doesn't understand how bills are taken through. I think when you go for public position to get the members' views outside there, the people of Southwest Nakach and people of Market Milimani contribute differently on these things, and all those things cannot be captured and be brought to a single committee and make a decision. There are things we have to negotiate in this house in terms of what the people of South Nyakach need, what the people of Manyalenda A needs, and what the people of Market Mlwani needs. When you talk of, for example, finance bill, the people of South Nyakach would be much interested in single business permits and maybe vaccination of dogs, cats, and all that. While the people of Market Mlwani is interested in terms of doing sewerage, waste management, and all that. I think for us to get a point on, agree on a bill and the values and the costs, if we were talking about finance bill, 5 minutes is not enough, because this affects the whole county.
Honorable God, you are on statement of fact. What do you want Honorable Boyton to?
Fact is, I think we are 35 elected members in this house. And the 35 elected members are affected by single bills that are brought in this house. And I was giving an example of a finance bill, where each and every ward is affected. If you were to give 5 minutes for each member to articulate the finance bill for his or her ward, that is 35 times 5, which will give you like around 175 minutes. That is 3 hours. Then you take the other 50 for the mover and for replying, 35 plus 15. That will take you 4 hours. This house allocates only 3 hours for a debate. And therefore, I think that time is not enough for specific bills, and we request that you allow us, give us a leeway to extend. Mr. Speaker.
Just have a seat, Honorable God. I've heard what you are saying. Honorable God requested me to give him time to articulate standing order number 89, which is on a responsibility for what you are saying. So I thought maybe there is something that Honorable Boyton had said that he wanted to be, him to take responsibility. That is him to be factual. And let me read it. Standing order number 89. Responsibility for statement of fact. 1, a member shall be responsible for the accuracy of any facts which the member alleges to be true and may be required to substantiate any such facts. So I thought Honorable God wanted Honorable Boyton to substantiate something. Number 2, if a member has sufficient reason to convince the Speaker that the member is unable to substantiate the allegations instantly, the Speaker shall require that such member substantiate the allegations not later than the next sitting day, failure to which the member shall be deemed to be disorderly within the meaning of standing order number 106, that is grossly disorderly conduct, unless the member withdraws the allegations and gives a suitable apology if the Speaker so requires. So if somebody stands on 89, it is to go direct that can you substantiate what you have said, or withdraw and apologize. And if it's not able to substantiate, then we can allow that person to substantiate the next sitting day. If he or she doesn't do that one, then you are becoming gross disorderly. On the same note, I heard what the majority leader moved. I have not seen any 3 hours. I'm seeing that the debate on bills is open, but limiting the timing that members take to debate. Unless, majority leader, you move something else from what Honorable God is presenting. But anyway, the members are leeway to a debate, but within the motion that the leader of majority has moved. As per the standing order number 95, which requires that we have procedural motions before we proceed with our activities. Honorable God, I hope you are guided. Boyton.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. In fact, you understand why Honorable God sometimes want to distract people's attention. But anyway, that is done. Mr. Speaker, just as you have said, there is no limitation as per the total number of hours that the bill is supposed to take when brought in the floor of the House. That give us a very good time for members to debate. What I will implore members, if you are given 5 minutes, calculate your time, give out facts. These facts should come from the public participation, of which each and every member should attend this public participation, so that they get the views of the people. when they come here, they give the views of the people they represent, not their own views. So in that matter, Mr. Speaker, I think 5 minutes, if properly managed, well and good. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Benny Pete Hoiko.
Mr. Speaker.
Switch off your microphone, Honorable Nyauke.
Mr. Speaker, I've gone through Standing Order number 95. I've also gone through what the majority leader is taking the House through. The picture I'm getting is that Standing Order 95 is being amended. And I reflect that some amendment ought to have been done in the recent past. But this is my question to the members. Recently, members of a certain party cried in the National Assembly that a certain bill was rushed. A certain bill was rushed. And today, we are very keen and happy, giving the limitation of time, power in this assembly. The way the Standing Order number 95 was framed was not just for the sake of it. Was not just for the sake of it. But because the majority carried the day, let people advance the argument, give the majority the way and the speaker the way, and you pass it. But later on, the same outcry that was in the National Assembly will
What
come
is the
to
point
this
of
assembly.
order, Honorable?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'm rising on point of order number 104, that is irrelevance. Mr. Speaker, I'm finding my colleague irrelevant for purporting that this House is unprocedurally amending the standing orders. Mr. Speaker, Standing Order number 95 is very clear that anyone can request to give limitation of debate on certain motions. Mr. Speaker, that is what we are doing now. We don't intend to gag any members or rush any bills on the floor, Mr. Speaker. The procedure is so clear. We go from first reading up to the third reading, Mr. Speaker. And that is more than enough time for members to air their views. I think what my colleague is referring to with this, bill being rushed in the National Assembly was insufficient public participation. So, Mr. Speaker, I don't find that relevant with the motion on the floor. Thank you.
Honorable Benny, you are guided.
Mr. Speaker, let the majority carry their way. In the long run, the reality will come, but I've spoken.
Honorable Tom Nyauke.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, having listened carefully to the ongoings, I've come to understand that even the draft of this motion really do not have a sinister motive on this, Mr. Speaker. What I tend to look at it is, generally we are trying to look at time, the time frame that we need to execute the bills, the debate on the bills, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, you have also confirmed from where you are seated, that, and you have done this before, Mr. Speaker, that you give every person a reasonable time to execute whatever debate that, the points that whichever member has. Mr. Speaker, if it is indeed just for putting the time limit, the way my senior DS has also alluded to, that doing this is not only to gag members. Actually, I've never seen a situation where even the Speaker, where you are, you have stopped someone from talking even no matter how long we take. This one, I must appreciate that. But I believe that if we are doing it for posterity, that at least we need, because maybe there comes a time that so many members would be interested in debating in a particular bill, Mr. Speaker. Then, in such kind of a circumstance, the time limit should have been set forth so that we are able to also give you time to guide the House on the debate. So, Mr. Speaker, I beg to support this limitation on the debate on bills as presented by the Majority Leader. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Henrietta.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Sir and honorable members. I rise to support the motion brought to us by Majority Leader Honorable Ken Oko. The reason as to why I have a reason to support the motion is because we have found out that time is of essence. And when we don't manage time as individual members of this county assembly by debating and bringing things or issues that are pertinent to this county assembly or this particular house, then somebody else will manage time for us. And I think that is what Honorable Ken Oko is doing. We have not learned to manage time, Mr. Speaker. And Honorable Ken Oko has come in to help us manage time. And I think he's just right in order that he has come in. The other time we were here in this particular house, this did not happen. It is happening right now because it has taken him time to look at us and see how we debate. And if we bring into this house what we are required to bring, some of the debate that we hear here are not basically what we want to hear. A few people bring what we want to hear and what we want to learn. So for that matter, Mr. Speaker, I would beg and I would pray that we pass the 2 time motions that have been brought up by Honorable Ken Oko. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Peter Obasa.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I beg to support. Mr. Speaker, I think with bills, there are so many you can always put your points and you can exhaust them. We have the public participation, and when the bill is committed to the committee, let's go there as a committee and hear your views there. And also when it's presented back to the assembly. I think we can always exhaust our Mr. Speaker, I think Mr. Speaker, I think every good thing must have a timeline and a framework. And with this limitation of time will really guide us. And I think with that we can always move going forward when our time good. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I beg to support.
Honorable Jennifer.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Going by the mood of the House, may I request you to call the mover to reply.
Honorable Leader of Majority.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I want to thank the members that have contributed to this. And I want to start by saying that the Honorable Gado Lema requested me from the beginning to withdraw. And I want to remind him that he's still earning salary courtesy of ODM as a party. And here we are talking about a bill sponsored by parties. And I remember even yesterday he requested that you may not want to begin any committee. So this is a bill that is sponsored by parties or committees. And I want to say that Honorable Nerea Okombo nailed it. Because even when you talk of finance bill, it has to go for public participation. For it to be sponsored or for it to reach in this house through the chair of any committee, it must have been discussed in the committee level. Again, Honorable Ratibo Iton says that before it is read in this house, then it must have been posted for members 24 hours before. So that is enough time for you to read and understand, so that when you arrive to this house, then you have the content. You just talk about points. Again, Honorable Peto Iko said that this bill is for all members. I think this case of limiting time, it is for every member. It is not for a specific group of members. So we are not saying that we are gagging anyone as you portray. And for the first time, I want to thank Honorable Nyaoke, Aka tripartisan, for supporting this bill. And I want to agree with you that there is no ill motive. We're just trying to put a time frame for this bill. And since we have a number of motions still to go, I pray that this House will approve this motion. And Mr. Speaker, I do reply. Thank you.
Honorable members, now that the Leader of Majority had moved a procedural motion on limitation of debate on bills sponsored by parties or committees, second and debated, I want to put a question. And I put that as many of the opinion that the motion be adopted say aye. As many of the contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. And the procedural motion on bills sponsored by parties or committees as moved by the Leader of Majority, being a maximum of 35 minutes for the mover in moving the motion, 15 minutes in replying, maximum of 30 minutes for the chairperson of the committee, of the relevant committee, if the bill is not sponsored by the chairperson of the relevant committee, and a maximum of 5 minutes for any other member speaking, 15 minutes for the Leader of Majority, if not the sponsor of the committee. And the order of speaking is to the Leader of Majority, chairperson of relevant sectoral committee, in that order. Has been adopted today, the 21st of February 2024, at 10:17 hours. Next order.
Order number 10, procedural motion, limitation of debate on individual members' bills.
Of Majority.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker and honorable members, recognizing orders number 95(1) of the standing orders gives the Assembly mandate to impose a limit in respect of debates on bills by allotting a limited period of time for such debates. Now, therefore, this Assembly prays that pursuant to the provisions of orders number 95 part 1 of the standing orders, this House proposes that each speech in a debate on bills not sponsored by a committee or the Leader of Majority Party be limited as follows: a maximum of 2 hours with not more than 20 minutes for the mover in moving and 10 minutes in replying, a maximum of 20 minutes for the chairperson of the relevant committee, and a maximum of 5 minutes for any other member speaking, except the Leader of Majority Party, which shall be limited to a maximum of 15, and that priority in speaking be accorded to the Leader of the Majority Party and the chairperson of the relevant sectoral committee, in that order. And I ask Honorable Caroline Opar to second. Thank you.
Honorable Caroline Opar.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I second.
Honorable members, now the leader of majority has moved a motion, a procedural motion on limitation of debate on individual bills, individual members' bill. Seconded, I want to propose a question, and I propose that the motion is open for debate. Honorable God Olema.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Looking at the mood of the House, I call the mover to reply.
I have not seen anybody standing to protest the call by the Honorable God Olema, so the mover.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I want to thank the honorable members through Honorable Gado Lima for fully supporting this motion. I think Honorable Gado Lima has now read through this motion and realized that we are doing the right thing. So, Mr. Speaker, without wasting time, I do reply. Thank you.
Honorable members, now that the leader of majority has moved a motion on limitation of debate on individual members' bill, seconded and the reply made, I want to put a question. And I put that as many of the opinion that the procedural motion on limitation of debate on individual members' bill as printed be adopted, say aye. As many of the contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. And the procedural motion on limitation of debate on individual members' bill, that is a maximum of 2 hours with not more than 20 minutes for the mover in moving and 10 minutes in replying, and a maximum of 20 minutes for the chairperson of the relevant committee, and a maximum of 5 minutes for any member any member speaking except the leader of majority, who shall be limited to a maximum of 15 minutes, and that the order in speaking be according to the leader of majority party, the chairperson of the relevant committee, in that order, have been adopted today, the 21st of February 2024 at 10:21 hours. Next order.
Order number 11, procedural motion, limitation of debate on reports.
Honorable Leader of Majority.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker and honorable members. Notwithstanding orders number 95, but 4 of the standing orders that provides time limit in respect of debates on reports. Now, therefore, this assembly prays that, pursuant to the provision of standing orders number 95, part 1 of the standing orders, this House proposes that each speech in a debate on a report of a committee, a sessional paper, or any other report submitted to the Assembly be limited as follows: a maximum of 3 hours, with not more than 20 minutes for the mover in moving and 10 minutes in replying, and a maximum of 5 minutes for any other member speaking, except the leader of the majority party, who shall be limited to a maximum of 15 minutes. That priority be accorded to the leader of the majority party in that order, and I ask Honorable Tom Nyauke to second.
Honorable Tom Nyauke.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I take this opportunity to second.
Honorable members, now that the leader of majority has moved a motion, a procedural motion on limitation of debate on reports, seconded, I want to propose a question, and I propose that the motion is open for debate. Honorable Jennifer.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Going by the mood of the House, may I call the mover to reply?
I have not seen any member standing, so I want to give the mover time to reply.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I want to members. Silence means consent, so I reply, Mr. Speaker, sir. Thank you.
Honorable members, now that the leader of majority has moved a procedural motion on limitation of debate on reports, seconded, and reply made, I want to put a question. And I put that as many of the opinion that the procedural motion on limitation of debate on reports as moved by the leader of majority be adopted, say aye. As many of the contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it, and the procedural motion on limitation of debate on reports have been adopted. The procedural motion on limitation of debate being a maximum of 3 hours with not more than 20 minutes for a mover in moving and 10 minutes in replying, and a maximum of 5 minutes for any other member speaking except the leader of majority party, which shall be limited to 15 minutes, and the priority accorded to the leader of majority party, the chair of relevant central committee, in that order, is adopted today, the 21st of February 2024 at 10:24 hours. Next order.
Order number 12, procedural motions. Limitation of debate on the address by the governor.
Honorable Leader of Majority.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, and honorable members. Notwithstanding orders number 95, part 4 of the standing orders, which establishes time limit in respect of debates on motions, among others. Now, therefore, this assembly prays that, pursuant to the provisions of orders number 95, part 1 of the standing orders, and in furtherance to the provisions of orders number 25, part 5, this House proposes that each debate on the motion on the address by the governor be limited to not more than 10 minutes for each member speaking, 15 minutes for the mover in moving and replying, and 20 minutes for the leader of the minority party. And I ask Honorable Ouko to second. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I stand to second.
Honorable members, now that the leader of majority has moved a motion on the limitation of debate on the address by the governor, seconded, I want to propose a question, and I propose that the motion is open for debate. Deputy Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'm not rising to support the motion, though I'm in support. Mr. Speaker, I'm rising on standing order number 96, which gives the Speaker powers to maintain order in the House. And my understanding, Mr. Speaker, is our code of dressing is also part of the order that you maintain in this House. Mr. Speaker, I've read the Speaker's rules on dressing, Mr. Speaker, and I've not seen, Mr. Speaker, where members are allowed to come in, I would say, funny dress code. Yesterday, we had an issue with Honorable Member representing East Seme Ward, and today, Mr. Speaker, I've just noticed behind me, Honorable Kelvin Oraro is adorning the same kind of dressing, which is not corporate, but not prescribed within your rules, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, it's a precedent that members are setting in this House. So I just want to ask that the powers that gives you mandate to maintain order may also advise me appropriately if I'm wrong, but I feel that Honorable Oraro is not dressed to the standards and orders of the House. Thank you.
Honorable Deputy Speaker, I think you would have just stood to the standing order and say that I want to remember it's not properly dressed. And I sent the Sergeant at Arms to confirm to me. Or Honorable Oraro is seated next to Honorable Komudo. Honorable Komudo, can you confirm if the honorable member is properly dressed?
I'm the one to confirm. I'm the one to confirm. Sit down. Sit down. Many thanks, Honorable Speaker, and many thanks, Honorable members. Indeed, I want to concur with my fellow Honorable member of the DS. I am equally shocked. I've been shocked all through here, and I would like to confirm the sentiments expressed by the DS that we are shocked in the House, so that my fellow colleague and seated next to me may go out and dress properly or put in the right attire. Thank you. Many thanks.
Honorable Kelvin Oraro, I think you can find your way out to dress properly. that the debate, the motion is open for debate. Honorable Komudo.
Thank you so much again, Honorable Speaker, together with the members. I arise here to support the limitations of the timings on the governor's state of the address of the country. Indeed, you realize that we've got a number of businesses that we have to touch. The limitations, once more, I want to repeat that there are indeed overlaps, and indeed the limitations, the timings were required like yesterday. I arise, I support this 101%. Many, many thanks, Honorable Speaker, and many, many thanks to the honorable members. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Looking at the mood and the time, may I call the mover to reply?
I saw Honorable Emily standing. I don't know if you wanted to contribute.
Thank you. I wanted to call the mover to reply.
So
Thank
proceed,
you.
Honorable Leader Majority.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I want to thank members again for supporting this more. So I want to say many, many thanks to Honorable Komudo for your support of this motion. I think the governor's speech is very vast, and with 10 minutes given to each member, I think that's enough time, since the debate on the governor's speech always take 4 sittings. So I agree with all the members in supporting this motion, and Honorable Speaker, I do reply. Thank you.
Honorable members, now that the Leader of Majority has moved a procedural motion, limitation of debate on the address by the governor, seconded, debated, I want to put a question, and I put that as many of the opinion that the procedural motion on limitation of debate on the address by the governor as moved by the Leader of Majority, say aye. As many of the contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. And the procedural motion, limitation of debate on the address by the governor, being limited to not more than 10 minutes for each member speaking, 15 minutes for the mover in reply, 15 minutes for the mover in moving and replying, and 20 minutes for the Leader of Majority, adopted today, the 21st of February 2024 at 10:32 hours. Next order.
Order number 13, procedural motion. Limitation of debate on adjournment motion.
Leader of Majority.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker and members. Recognizing orders number 95-1 of the standing orders empowers the Assembly to set limitations on the duration of debate on motions and bills by assigning dedicated time frames for these discussions. Now, therefore, this Assembly prays that notwithstanding the provisions of orders number 26, part 3, this House proposes that the debate on any motion for the adjournment of the Assembly to a day other than the next normal sitting day in accordance with the calendar of the Assembly be limited to a maximum of 3 hours with not more than 5 minutes for each member speaking, except the Leader of Majority who shall be limited to a maximum of 10 minutes, and that priority be accorded to the Leader of Majority Party in that order, provided that when the period of recess proposed by any such motion does not exceed 10 days, the debate shall be limited to a maximum of 30 minutes and shall be strictly confined to the question of the adjournment. And I would like to ask Honorable Nereo Kombo, the Deputy Speaker, to second. Thank you.
Honorable Nerea.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to second a motion by Honorable Majority Leader on limitation of debate on adjournment, Mr. Speaker, because usually they are very brief and specific to the point that don't need elaborate time and debating. Mr. Speaker, I second.
Honorable members, now that the Leader of Majority has moved a motion, a procedural motion, limitation of debate on adjournment motion, seconded, I want to propose a question. And I propose that the motion is open for debate. Kennedy Ajwa.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Going by the mood of House, I call upon the mover to reply.
I have not seen any member standing, so the Leader Majority.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I want to thank the members for fully supporting this motion, as been mentioned by the Deputy Speaker. Adjourned motions are not always brief and very specific, and we don't need to take much time on it. And Honorable Speaker, I do reply. Thank you.
Honorable members, now that the Leader of Majority moved a motion, a procedural motion, limitation of debate on motions, seconded, debated, I want to put a question. And I put that as many of the opinion that the procedural motion, limitation of debate on motions, of adjournment, as presented by the Honorable Leader of Majority, be adopted, say aye. As many of the contrary opinions say nay. The ayes have it, and the procedural motion, limitation of debate on adjournment motion, being a maximum of 3 hours with not more than 5 minutes for each member speaking, except the Leader of Majority, who shall be limited to a maximum of 10 minutes, and that the priority be accorded to the Leader of Majority Party in that order, provided that the period of recess proposed for any such motion does not exceed 10 days. The debate shall be limited to a maximum of 30 minutes. Approved today, the 21st of February 2024 at 10:37 hours. Next order.
Mr. Speaker and honorable members, there is no any other business in the order paper.
Honorable members, I want to bring to your attention that the procedural motions are for purposes of guiding timelines in our debate. I had alluded to the fact that we have a lot of pending works in this session. So if we don't agree on the timing, we may not be able to achieve more. So I also want to request the sectoral chairs that any time you have a report that you are planning to present to the House, ensure that it reaches the members early enough for them to go through for purposes of preparation for debate, so that we are factual and we are able to do what we are, we are able to present what we want to present within the set timelines. On the same note, we have also set direction to the table clerks and the committee clerks. They shall be preparing moving notes for the chairs of committees, so that you are able to present a whole report within the limited times that have been agreed upon in the various procedural motions presented by the Honorable Leader of Majority. Otherwise, there being no any other business in the order paper, the House stands adjourned until today, the 21st of February 2024 at 2:30 p.m.